Yeah.
All right, now I look across at my man Adam, and I look next to me at my man Just Johnny.
Yep.
And you fine gentlemen got to check out Nioh, isn't it correct?
Yeah, Nioh.
Nioh. All right, for the PlayStation 4.
Yep.
Yep.
You want to give me a rundown of this hot trud video game piece of software, please?
Sure. So Nioh. What to say about Nioh without saying anything about Dark Souls? It's kind of impossible, so I'll just say it out right now. Nioh is the Japanese version of Dark Souls, even though Dark Souls was made by a Japanese studio.
Wait, is it a related franchise?
They're completely unrelated, completely different teams, but it's basically so Dark Souls has been around. There's like 5 different iterations of the Souls games, and another company, Team Ninja. So they made Ninja Gaiden, things like that. They basically had this game in development, Nioh, for a long time. And then they saw Dark Souls, because I guess they had some problems. They couldn't figure out what to do with their game. They wanted to be an RPG of some sorts. And then Dark Souls came out. They saw it, they played it, they loved it, and they pretty much made Dark Souls, but with ninjas and samurai. And it's essentially the best ninja samurai video game ever made. That's Nioh in kind of a nutshell. It's basically take Dark Souls.
Are you forgetting 2003's Ninja Gaiden?
Oh no.
Well, it's got that.
Yeah, it's
the same team. It's the same team that made Ninja Gaiden, Ninja Gaiden Black and Ninja Gaiden whatever 3, 4, 5 million, all the different variations that they made. It's that same team. It's also the same team that made Metroid Other M.
Okay. You're throwing mixed signals.
We can forget about that one.
Yeah, they totally redeemed themselves. Absolutely. So Nioh, it's you take Dark Souls, the combat within there, significantly faster. So at the pace and the combo fluidity of Ninja Gaiden, you combine those two together, and then you inject it with Diablo 3 style loot system.
Diablo 3 style.
Yep. So yeah, so every time you're like killing different enemies, they'll explode with like loot drops galore. So things like items and equipment and weapons, and they have the color coding system so that if it's white, it's just basic crap, and if it's purple, it's epic and has all the different randomized stats on it. And you want to wear it because it's big epic loot and it's great and it boosts up all your stats, making you a better killing machine, and it's sort of like mix and repeat. The things about Nioh is that differentiates it. Now when I say it's like Dark Souls, it is very much like Dark Souls. The whole like targeting system is very much the same. Being in this world and sort of finding shortcuts or finding like little tiny treasures along the way. All of those things, the one-on-one fights, and the moment that another enemy joins in a fight, if you're going 2-on-1, it's extremely hard. It's already hard enough with a one-on-one fight against a big enemy. The moment a second one joins in, it like turns the tables, and you really have to concentrate. Usually, you're gonna die.
And so, are you teaming up with other like real-world players or just AI?
A bit of both.
Yeah. So kind of like Dark Souls again.
Okay. Let's put the kibosh in the Dark Souls recommendations. I want to know what makes Nioh ill.
Okay, the one thing I like about it is when you find the graves.
Yes.
And you're pretty much fighting an AI version of whoever just died in that area.
Yep.
Which is phenomenal. So instead of like seeing the bloodstain and like seeing how they died, you actually fight the person, then you just get all their loot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see like what level they are, what weapons they're using, and things like that. You don't get to see how they die, but being able to fight them, and also the AI itself adopts the fighting style. At least I think it does, the fighting style of that person. So if they're going ninjutsu heavy with like throwing bombs and shuriken at you, if that's how they played their character, that's the AI that you're fighting, is one that uses those types of abilities. So there's these very intricate RPG mechanics. There's almost a little bit too many. There's just a ton of different ways to augment and spec out your character to sort of play and fight exactly the way you want it to. It has a caster-like tree where you're using magical jutsu called Omni Magic.
I've been having a lot of fun with that too. Just like buffing up my weapons and shooting fireballs at people.
So you can buff up your weapon, you can shoot fireballs, they have all the different elements, you can like make like this weird spirit blade attack thing, which is pretty
so cool.
Then there's a ninjutsu tree, so if you want to do like traps, fire bombs and explosions, and sort of there's this one ability where you can turn yourself into a log the moment you take like a lethal hit, and then you reappear up above the enemy and you sort of downward strike them. I was like, oh, thought you got me? Smack.
Yep.
Didn't get me.
How much is this? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I love the stand system in the game though.
That's a
so
big mechanic. So probably the most elaborate part of the combat is mastering the different stances. So every single weapon, there's a smaller set of weapons. There's 5 major weapons, but for each one, there's a significantly larger moveset where you have to hold your blade or your weapon, whatever it is, up high on a high stance or mid stance and a low stance. And those 3 different stances have different perks and different sort of nuances to them. So if you hold it high, you're going to deal more damage, but your attacks are going to be slower. If you hold it low, your attack's going to be quick. You're going to be able to dodge, but you're not going to deal much damage.
I remember that Bushido Blade used to do stuff like that. It's like you're paying attention. Way of the Warrior.
Yeah, it's very similar to that, and you can kind of mix and match too. So like you can start in a low stance and then move to a mid stance, and then have a skill where you close out your combo and do higher damage if you hold a certain button at the end of the combo while you're in that stance.
Nice. Yeah, so I want to start off with a low stance, and then come in with like a quick jab, and then come in with a quick what do you call it? A quick kick of the shin, and then bust back into a backspin, and then my head spin, and then I flip this dude into a freeze, right? And then I come in with a pop lock. Am I?
Now you sound like Bushido Brown.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was crossing genres.
But I mean, even when you just said that, it just made me think of that. There seems to be a game that could be easy for someone to jump right in and not have a huge learning curve. Something small like that, just holding down the button to be able to continue the combo, is something that's huge for someone who's still relatively new and jumping into a game like that.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
It's still difficult, but they took out some of the frustrating parts of the Souls games. So,
and work my button mash technique.
Let's say you have like a bunch of souls and you die.
Okay, right.
There's an item in the game where if you're at your shrine or at any point in the level, you use this candle and you get all of them back instead of going back to your grave.
Nice.
Yeah, so you can recuperate the experience that you sort of left there. Otherwise, if you die along the way of trying to retrieve it, that experience is gone.
Jeez.
It's very risk and reward.
Yeah. High risk, high reward. There's it's very challenging, just like the Souls games. It's very, very difficult game. But the moment you master the mechanics, you can sort of you still need to respect the game, but you can really like have fun with the enemies and like teach them a lesson and like exploit their AI and do really good. But there's also, because of their loot system and because of the if you go deep dive and you like finely tune your character and min max its stats, you can kind of get around doing mastering the nuances of the combat system and sort of just min-max your character beyond, like, out-level things.
Oh, wow.
So there is a little bit of that where even if you can't master the game's difficulty, you can still kind of get around it. Okay. But it is going to be very difficult right up front.
I just imagine the two of y'all roaming through this world mugging people. That was going on.
So good.
But what? Yeah.
All right, so end of the day, it sounds like a positive opinion. Do you recommend Nioh?
I would make sex with it.
Wow.
Yes. Strong recommendation there, I guess.
Okay.
I would second that to a lesser degree, but it is.
I mean, honestly, I would
hand job that.
I would Eiffel Tower Nioh with you. Okay.
Wow.
I kind of co-sign, but not really.
There's some things that you need to. If you like storyline, do not go to Nioh for story. This is purely a gameplay, game mechanics style game, and PvP style game. Once you get to that sort of part of it, if you're going for story, the story's absolute garbage, and
that's an understatement.
It is trash. And whoever did the localization for it did a terrible job too, because some of the text is like kind of hard to decipher, like what it is that they actually mean by it, even when you go into like the help, like help explain this for me, and it's like. I can't give a good example, but
especially
it's
item
good.
descriptions.
All right.
So you'd have
Yes.
like firearms damage received, and I'm like, wait, so I take more damage from firearms?
Yeah,
Or,
exactly. Yeah. It's weird stuff like that.
No, easily rectified. Don't set your arms on fire. All right, now I got to check